GM, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Beyond PFPs, brought to you by OSPN, the Open Source People's Network. This podcast is in partnership with the Rari Foundation, the DAO behind the Rarible protocol, and the Rari chain. The Rari chain, which recently launched, introduces a platform with embedded royalties, low transaction fees, and high transaction speed. It's designed to support creators and developers in the NFT space, ensuring fair compensation and broadening the potential for NFT applications. Now, Beyond PFPs is a podcast that's all about exploring the depth of NFTs beyond digital collectibles, highlighting the impact within various industries. Today, we're discussing how web3 will disrupt gaming. We're here with Hefe, one of the core community members of the Aavegotchi DAO. Aavegotchi is a Web3 game that consists of digital ghosts that were inspired by Tamagotchis. Each Aavegotchi can be customized with various wearables, and they can be bought, sold, and traded as NFTs. And the wearables possesses distinctive attributes and traits that impact the Aavegotchi's appearance, its rarity, and gameplay abilities. And we also have Sinful and Maryana with us, also joined by Lastrom. These are three core community members of the Decentraland DAO, and Decentraland is a world built by its players, where the only limits is your imagination. Basically, all aspects of the game is shaped by the community. We're talking about the wearables, land, emotes, literally every feature of the game, basically. So glad to have you guys on for an episode of Beyond PFPs. Really excited to discuss how gaming will evolve in the Web3 era. Now, my first question here is for Hefe. What can people expect when they get started playing Aavegotchi, and how can you purchase one? Like, what's the process of joining the community and becoming a part of the DAO as well, and earning a role?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, I'll say you don't actually need to have an Aavegotchi to get started. We have people coming into our Discord lately that are just curious about Aavegotchi. And we immediately, when someone comes in like that, they don't actually have an Aavegotchi, we direct them right to our rental protocol. So you can actually rent an Aavegotchi, try it on for yourself. There's different, people put together different wearables and combinations for different play styles. So you can go to our marketplace, rental marketplace, and actually rent yourself an Aavegotchi. It might cost you like 20 cents to, maybe if you get a more OP gotchi, maybe like $1 to rent it out. And, you can go play like 6, 7 different types of games that are out right now, and many more that are in development with the rented Aavegotchi. So it's a very low barrier, easy way to kind of get started in the community and get a feel for it. After that, I would direct, I'd say probably check out our bazaar. So Aavegotchi has a native marketplace called our bazaar. We're also on other marketplaces as well. We're on One Planet, Magic Eden as well as integrated Aavegotchi. But if you really want to see where everybody's listing all their stuff, the majority of it is in our bazaar. So people can go there, buy their Aavegotchi. I recommend definitely don't just go and buy an Aavegotchi in the bazaar, because our community is very knowledgeable, and I would direct them to actually jump into the Discord, start talking to people, and there'll definitely be someone in there that's willing to help you select your own Aavegotchi, based on what you want, whether it's something more collectible or something that'll do really good in games, because there is quite a lot to look at when you're buying an Aavegotchi. There's different aspects of it, based on what somebody would want and based on what they're wanting to spend. So very low barrier to get in, and then a bunch of options for you to actually buy something there as well.
Cool. Yeah, so you could just get involved in the game. You could just visit the website, start playing. But eventually you're going to want to have an Aavegotchi, so right. And then in order to obtain one, you don't have to, because from my understanding before, was you had to go through the bazaar and get it. So you can actually communicate with the community in order to get an Aavegotchi that's more suited to what you actually want, as opposed to what's available in the bazaar. What's that process like?
Right. I mean, so there's definitely people in our community that like to do OTC deals, over-the-counter sales for Aavegotchis. So I'd say just reach out in the community and have someone help you pick out your Aavegotchi based on traits. So Aavegotchis have basically 4 traits that can be changed. over time with different things. And they have two traits that can't be changed. So the eye shape and the eye color and kind of like the aesthetic of the Aavegotchi, that never changes. But they have four different traits where, they have, for example, energy, aggressiveness, spookiness, and brain power. So there's four different traits there. And different trait combinations will affect your Aavegotchi in different types of gameplay. You might buy an Aavegotchi that does really well in like a puzzle game that might not do so well in the arena, which is a little bit more savage. And it's definitely like more of like a Fortnite style gameplay. So like, I have 9 Aavegotchis. And so each one is kind of like is based for a different sport. You know what I mean? But every now and then I find like maybe my Aavegotchis aren't well suited for a specific game or play style. So I'll go out and rent one, which is it's really awesome to be able to rent Aavegotchis. And now we actually partnered with Orium Network as well, they've built a rental protocol for wearables. So now, you have an Aavegotchi and maybe you want to rent some wearables to change its traits. You can do that too.
Oh, nice. Yep. I understand that the wearables plays a role into the rarity score, and then, like you mentioned, it's traits as well. So I'm assuming maybe like a different wearable could make your Aavegotchi more suited for battle, like in the arena.
Right.
And then, as you mentioned, so you don't have to go through the bazaar. You can actually trade them peer to peer, as if you're trading Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like we did back in the day.
Yeah.
Cool. No, that's really nice to know. And knowing that you have 9, perhaps like after this call, I could talk about me taking one of them off your hands.
Yeah.
I wanted an Aavegotchi for a while, bro. I just haven't came across like the one that I necessarily like wanted from the bazaar. So knowing that, like I'm pretty sure you've done some pretty cool things with your 9 Aavegotchi that you have. So maybe we could, I'll take a look and see which one I would like to purchase from you. And
Yeah, man, we can figure it out. I actually just bought my mom a gotchi for her birthday because I'm like, she really likes the whole aesthetic of the Aavegotchis, and there's some games that just came out that she's actually into, like mobile, like it's a mobile game. So like, you know what? I'll get you an Aavegotchi. They're reasonably affordable right now. You can get a floor Aavegotchi for, probably around $200 to $300, like USD. It's not terrible for like a playable NFT that you can actually use across many different games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty good time to get an Aavegotchi, if you ask me. But I have a biased opinion with that.
Are you interested in building NFTs that'll disrupt traditional industries? You can get started by using Rarible protocol. It's an open source cross-chain NFT protocol that's community governed. You can check out the code on GitHub and then request an API key at rarible.org. No matter what NFT project you intend on building, Rarible protocol equips you with the necessary tools to turn your ideas into reality. If you like the fact that the Rarible protocol is community governed, consider joining the Rari Foundation, which is the DAO behind the protocol. Joining the Rari Foundation offers you the opportunity to help shape the future of NFT infrastructure. If you're looking to engage in governance and vote on key decisions, you can become a delegate by joining community calls and participating on forum, which will boost your reputation and help you earn some voting power through our delegate incentive program. If you'd like to learn more about the community, visit rari.foundation and then join the Discord server and begin joining our calls and making connections with the community. A community that is all about supporting creators. The Rari Foundation demonstrated how much they support NFT creators by creating the Rari chain to make sure that royalties are embedded at the node level, ensuring that creators always receive royalties from secondary sales. By building on Rari Chain, you're safeguarded by a system that respects and protects creator earnings. Learn more about Rari Chain at rarichain.org. With Rari, you're joining a movement focused on decentralized governance, innovation, and creator empowerment. Now, Back to the episode.
My next question here is for Maryana and Sinful, and Lastrom. You could definitely jump in for this as well. We prepared these questions before the Twitter space, so they weren't all like included, what you're doing for this space, but you're doing some great things for Decentraland, and feel free to chime in, and then I'll start asking some questions more suited to what you're building, especially with that proposal that we mentioned earlier in the episode about the no code feature for being able to build in-world experiences in the game. So definitely want to talk about that. But all right, guys, Maryana, Sinful, Lastrom, how can people get started with Decentraland, and what are some cool places to explore if you're just getting started? And are there any like regular events to attend in order to make new friends and get a deeper experience of its metaverse?
I guess I can take it from the beginning. But yeah, anyone could log in from Decentraland now with the new Social Connect tool. So you necessarily don't need a wallet to start in Decentraland. But yeah, go to play.decentraland.org. You can connect as a guest account or through a Gmail, or not sure what the other social options are. But yeah, and then they'll take you to like a tutorial world to kind of get you a sense of the keyboard movements, and then kind of just walk you through like the basic I think like the onboarding actually has a few they point you to a few of the places that are popular in Decentraland. But yeah, there's a few aspects of Decentraland that you can check out. There's like an events page when you log into the platform, and then you can see all the popular places and POIs or point of interest right when you log in. You can also explore the Decentraland marketplace on the website to kind of see what kind of wearables. If you get once you start exploring, you'll see that your avatar might not be as cool as some of the. I mean, the default ones are not too bad, but you want to start getting a little bit more customizable. But yeah, right now, anyone who is a new user that comes into Decentraland, there's a art week that's going on till the 29th or tomorrow. So any new user that jumps in will probably see a lot of events relating to the art week right now. I would say like that's the biggest thing right now. Yeah, but definitely just exploring around the map, finding the community members on Twitter. And then, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, there's so many ways that you can kind of explore, but maybe Sinful, if you have more advice.
Yeah, I mean, like, definitely important things to do is, like, get involved with people, just try to be chatty, don't be shy, make some friends, explore some of the games, like explore maybe even some of the locations with the highest populations, and then from there, like start chatting with them, and then they'll tell you about either some event that happens an hour from now or whatever, and then join the community run events. And then, like, as far as even to like the part of the question that was like kind of like how to get involved even within the DAO, and like gain a role in there, like, join in with the intention to like learn the world, learn what it needs, and I mean, straight up, don't be greedy. Don't walk up in there like 2 days in and you're like, okay, well, I deserve a 60K grant, and because I quote unquote know how to do this. But a lot of programmers say they know stuff, but they don't really. They got to learn it. That's why we have our friend Lastrom over here. He is like the code guru or one of the few code gurus of Decentraland. It's really good to see you, Lastrom. How are you doing today, man?
Hey, thanks for the kind words, Sin. I'm good. I missed the town hall in the DAO this morning. It's at 8 a.m. in Los Angeles time, so a little too early for me, but I definitely wanted to piggyback off of what you and Maryana said. There's a lot of stuff to do in Decentraland, and it's all community created. There isn't like a Microsoft that had created something and says like, hey, you have to come here and do this. It's a decentralized network. So there's goods and bads to that, but there's a lot of goods going on right now. As Maryana mentioned, there's Art Week. So there's these huge events quarterly that the foundation who is the Decentraland Foundation, is pushing the platform development. They host these events in these massive areas, kind of like Coachellas and Stagecoaches and Art Weeks and South by. They do these big tentpole events, and so one of them going on right now is Art Week. There's also a casino if you like gambling. It's one of the major casinos in the metaverse Web3 space. There's also games like Sinful mentioned. So, Knights of Antrom, Exodus, Vroomway. There's all kinds of different styles of games. KOA being like a RPG, sort of MMO-ish. Same with Exodus. Vroomway is more of like a Mario Kart racing, combat battling, which is awesome. And then there's all kinds of other different art galleries and mini scenes and things to explore. The amazing thing is there's a lot to do, and I don't want to say nothing to do. It's kind of like up to you to go in there and find out, right? It's not like Facebook or Decentraland gave you horizon worlds and said, like, here is what you have to do. It's all creator driven. And so the best way to get in there is jump in and click the Discover tab, and you'll see all kinds of events and catalogs and categories of things to do. And from there, you'll explore and find somebody. I guarantee you'll run into somebody, as Sinful mentioned, who's an air quote OG. You'll see their crazy wearables or clothing that they have on, and you'll wonder, what the heck? How do I get that? They'll be very helpful, point you in the right direction, and then hopefully you'll level up your digital avatar and digital persona through purchasing wearables or a name attached to your wallet.
Yeah, man, I can relate to that, because I remember when I first started playing Decentraland, I noticed that, my character just had like the basic, clothing that came with him. And then the first time I joined a community event, it was a Twitter space that I was aware of that Sinful was hosting with Canessa. I believe this was like a weekly occurring Twitter space that happened every Saturday, like around 12 p.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken. And then I know that there was meeting at a particular spot in Decentraland, and I met up in there as the Twitter space was going on. And that was my first time interacting with Canessa in the game, and she was really cool. I was just explaining, I like some of the wearables that she had and some of the other wearables that I saw other characters have. And she was just so cool and just like gifted me some. And then like she gave me this Tommy Hilfiger puffer jacket. She gave me some sneakers, some cargo pants. Like she just from that Twitter space, I was able to upgrade my character like that. So just want to give a big shout out to Canessa. Really appreciate her doing that and just allow me to have an even better experience in the game. And then just to build upon what you were saying, like how there's not like a Microsoft, where it's not like it's not like the company tells you how you're going to experience this game. The major difference I see between like Web3 gaming and then like traditional gaming is like you create your own experience. So it's just like a new way to like pretty much like conceive like a video game, pretty much, since like you're creating your own experience. I see you got your hand up, Lashing.
Yeah, no, the misnomer about Decentraland is calling it a game. It's a platform that can be built on to create games. And so think of Decentraland as a world, and inside of that world are a bunch of different pieces of land that can be put together by the owners, and then a game can be created on that land. So that's the super unique thing, is like, I always like to reference Grand Theft Auto. Decentraland is Grand Theft Auto, but everything inside Grand Theft Auto has been created by the users of Grand Theft Auto. All of the games, all of the skins, all of the buildings, all of the topography, literally everything is created by the users of Grand Theft Auto. So when you jump into Decentraland, it's not like, hey, I have 20 missions and I have all of this. You have to go to somebody's creation and then play their games and missions. And so Decentraland is almost like one step above a game, because it allows for multiple games to be created inside the world. And that's kind of where we're going with the in-world builder, is allowing people to build within Decentraland, so that you can have a Grand Theft Auto next to an MMO, next to a Street Fighter, next to a Duck Hunt, next to a PvP, all within the platform.
I feel like that's like the ethos of Web3, like building in Web3 is empowering the users to create user-generated content And I feel like that's how we're going to have, Aavegotchi shares many similarities in that we're a gaming protocol. So we're not actually a game. I mean, there's a game you can play with the Aavegotchis, but you can also plug them into many different experiences that are built by Aavegotchi owners and players. So it's almost like Decentraland is like the substrate that's allowing for people to create whatever they want on there. And you literally have endless like gaming experiences that could be built. That'll probably evolve over time too. I'm like really curious to see what the future has in store.
I always like to say that Decentraland is the virtual representation of Web3. Whatever you can think about Web3, everyone has a different opinion, but it can apply to Decentraland, and Decentraland applies to Web3. So, in my opinion, it is the virtual representation of Web3.
Oh, that's a very powerful way to put it, because like because like Decentraland, like you said, it's not just a game. It's a entirely it's a virtual world. It's like a second world basically, and it's like you don't have to just have like a gaming experience. For an example, this podcast could have been hosted inside of Decentraland, and we could have recorded it that way. Or like you can host a concert. I'm pretty sure like a ton of musicians have. Well, I know I'm familiar with like a few musicians, but like as the platform evolves, more artists will start hosting concerts in the game as well. I'm familiar with some fashion designers that created their own land for selling wearables, or it actually links to their store, and you could purchase physical clothing that way as well. It's just creating an entirely new experience on the internet altogether. My next question that I have here, shifting back to Aavegotchi, would like to learn a bit more about rarity farming. Hefe, can you explain exactly what is rarity farming, and how can you increase the rarity of your Aavegotchi?
Yeah, do you mind? I'll touch on three things with rarity farming. I'll talk about what rarity farming is, also how our DAO has been dealing with, giving out rewards for rarity farming, and my take on the evolution of rarity farming. So I'll try to make this kind of all like compact. Basically, rarity farming is this idea that you're going to have an Aavegotchi. It's going to be naked when you first get it, but has 4 traits that can basically be changed. Those traits are affected by the different wearables that you can equip the Aavegotchi with. And there's different tiers of rarity for wearables, going all the way down from a common wearable that might cost you like 10 ghost, all the way up to, we have godlike wearables, which are literally minted as only 5, a max of 5 per wearable. And they're considered to be extremely, extremely rare. And, those can go for anywhere from like 20,000 ghosts all the way to over 100,000 ghosts. So, these are very high-end sort of items, prized items in the game. You're going to dress up your Aavegotchi with these items. And then every season we have seasonal rewards that go out to the rarest Aavegotchis. So that usually is about the top 7,500 Aavegotchis will get some form of reward, and it's based off a long tail. So let's say like the top 10 Aavegotchis, they might earn like thousands of ghosts per season, which equates to maybe like anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 per Aavegotchi, which is a huge reward for just passively, dressing up your Aavegotchi in a way that makes sense. There's a whole traits game where you're trying to find just in real life, we all have clothes that fit us best, and you're going to try and find the wearables that fit your Aavegotchi's traits the best. And those will get the highest rewards. And there's other levers for each Aavegotchi. There's like a kinship score, which is based on your engagement with the Aavegotchi. There's also an XP score, which is related to your engagement in the DAO. So every time you vote on a proposal, your Aavegotchis get some XP, and they level up that way as well. So we're trying to incentivize people to engage with our snapshot, with our proposals, by increasing indirectly how much rewards they can receive every season. Now, our DAO does this seasonally, so we do 2 to 3 of these rarity farming seasons a year, and each season pays out roughly 1.5 million ghosts from our treasury. A lot of these funds are raised through the sales of Aavegotchi. So it's kind of a flywheel effect where people buy Aavegotchis to fund our DAO, and then our DAO disperses rewards in a seasonal kind of a manner. And land sales as well, wearable sales, they all contribute to the treasury. That being said, though, I mean, we kind of consider rarity farming as a marketing campaign. So to draw new users in with the allure of dressing up a rare Aavegotchi and earning some rewards, which has worked well so far for Aavegotchi. But now as a DAO, back when rarity farming first started, we had no games. I mean, like literally the game was just dress up your Aavegotchi is the rarest Aavegotchi. Now the meta is shifting away from that because we've actually started building games since about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Not only our studio, Pixelcraft Studios, but also community members now getting funded by our DAO to build games. And so now we want to integrate these games somehow into our rarity farming rewards to fully utilize them. And in my opinion, we need to make a shift away from rarity farming in a traditional sense, how I described to you guys, to sort of being able to fund tournaments and use put these funds to work to actually attract them to the games. Now, the dilemma within our DAO that we need to figure out is the majority of these holders that I told you about that have these really rare exclusive wearables, they own them because they actually get to, get significant rarity farming rewards. And so they're very unlikely to vote in favor of a proposal that'll shift the rewards to actually game rewards, to tournament rewards, where they might not actually be actively involved. They like the passive rewards that they've been getting. So we have sort of two camps in our DAO. We have these sort of book value folks that are looking at their Aavegotchis as a passive reward for, they've invested maybe $100,000 into dressing up a super rare Aavegotchi, and they know they're going to get 10, 15,000 ghost in rewards a couple times a year. And that's their incentive to do that. And then we have people who are more in the gaming camp, who like to develop games. They want to see more rewards be integrated into games. There hasn't been any proposals to push rarity farming away from its traditional structure, but that's something I've been thinking about in how we can shift rewards away from the passive reward and move it towards more like use it as more of an engagement incentive with all these amazing games that we put our effort into. So kind of competing interests going on with the DAO right now. We haven't seen any proposals materialize out of that. But I'm really curious to see, how things shape up. That's my personal take on it right now.
As they say, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. So, I can see why people wouldn't want to deviate away from that, only because, that is, I see how you mentioned that was like a marketing tactic, and it's really cool being able to own a rare item, and then be able to generate yield that way. Because let's say if I own a really rare piece of clothing, the only time I'm going to profit from it is if I sell it. But that's what's cool about web3 gaming, or just web3 in general. You can own an asset and potentially generate yield from it, not having to sell it in order to generate revenue. So I can see why there's some tension, I guess, there. But and then when you mention gaming and how rarity farming could be applied there, I'm thinking of I know I mentioned this a few Twitter spaces back that we had together, but I would like to see some skateboarding type of games, extreme sports types of games, and Aavegotchi. I would like to see the same thing for Decentraland if it doesn't already exist. But let's say a game inspired by Pro Skater, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and Aavegotchi, and maybe rarity farming could be based off of how rare your skateboard is in the game, or different features of your maybe you could have a godlike skateboard deck or something like that.
Well, I feel like if it was Aavegotchis doing I love this idea, but we're probably gonna have to go with hoverboards because Aavegotchis don't have legs, unfortunately.
Yeah, that would be a more accurate representation. Really cool stuff around that, though, with rarity farming. And thank you for explaining that to our viewers today. And now shifting the focus back into Decentraland now. Any one of you feel free to chime in. Maryana, Sinful, Lastrom. Just want to know, what were some of the coolest experiences that you personally had in the game? What are some of the coolest events that you ever took part in Decentraland? I recently built a Discord scraper that functions as a search engine. So I just looked up certain I performed some random search queries, and I was just looking up random musicians. And then I saw that like Soulja Boy actually performed in Decentraland. I wonder like how many other artists performed in Decentraland, and it was just cool to be able to discover that. I just wonder like how many more artists have participated in Decentraland that I may not be aware of. Well, I see Sinful got his hand up. Go ahead, sir.
I guess I'll start it off because, like, literally, I came into Decentraland for a major event. Like, that is how I walked in here, and Decentraland hasn't been able to get me out of there since. I came in for the 2021 Decentraland, or what was it? It was called Metaverse Music Festival that year, and that year they had some pretty popular names perform. My personal favorite being Deadmau. Like that is what got me into Decentraland. I don't know if you noticed, but like my helmet, I don't take that thing off. Go ahead. I see your mic unmuted.
Oh no, feel free to go ahead. No, I stayed
Okay.
unmuted, but yeah, I'm familiar with. I always refer to him as Dead Mouse. The right way to say his name is Dead Mouse.
Yeah, well, I mean, to each their own. It definitely he's become like a staple in the music industry, where like you just say Dead Mouse, Dead Mouse, and like he'll it sticks. People know. I could be saying it wrong too, but like yeah, they had created like an extravagant like stage for his performance, where like the projections would come off like the actual main screen and like project into like kind of like these structures that were like replicating his hands on the turntable, or like on his hardware that he's working with. So yeah, I thought that was like dope. And then like through the years, just like seeing like all the community events, like for some reason I personally find the community stuff to be okay, I guess official events are extravagant, community events work. So like it like whenever I think about like an experience that I want to have on Decentraland, is I want to be around people, I want to be around my friends, and I want the platform to work. So yeah, I mean, I can name the community building Decentraland 1 year 1 year event. That was like kind of like an amazing event where like the whole community got together, like different builders, and each like just contributed small aspects to whatever we were doing. Like whether if you're a builder, like there were different builders within the community contributing different assets. It's like, hey, I have a whale I've been working on, and we're like, good, let's throw it in. So kind of creating those experiences have been, or like kind of like what keeps me here.
Nice. Okay, so now I know the reference of the Dead Mouse helmet that you have, and like how that came from the from participating in that first event. And that's really cool to even know that. Just thought that you was a big fan of Dead Mouse. I didn't know that Dead Mouse was actually that actually performed in Decentraland. That's really cool. I really liked one of the songs they made with Cascade. I remember the first time I heard that was like in 2010. Anyway, something I want to hit upon before Lastrom has to jump is to learn more about the no code game builder, or the no code builder, if you will. Lastrom, feel free to unmute and let us know all about that. I know that there's a proposal around that as well. Feel free to inform us a bit more about it.
Yeah, thanks. I do have to jump. We're doing like a long session today, live streamed on Twitter and Discord and Twitch, to help people learn how to use it. But essentially, when you build in Decentraland, you have to build with code, and then you like deploy it, sort of push all of your scene to their servers. And it's a very disjointed process. So we built a system that allows you, like Minecraft, to build as you are inside Decentraland. So you don't have to program anything. You don't have to go to a different website or download any different software package. You just go into Decentraland and grab all these objects and move them and add functionality to them. And that's what we're going to be showcasing today. The version 2, the major upgrade to this tool set, is the game creation studio. So other metaverses, and people don't like to make comparisons, but I do. Nifty Island, it was attractive because people can go in there, they have an island, they quickly drag and drop some game items, and then they allow others to immediately play their creation. And there's something unique there in terms of behavioral patterns with repetition and addiction. And so when you can create something very easily and then let others experience that creation, it creates a euphoria, right, for the creator. But then it also creates an addiction repetition pattern, if your game is good enough, to the end user to keep coming back and playing because there's some incentive or reward, whether it's at the platform level with Bloom or it's rewards inside the game. So what we want to do is take those behavioral patterns and apply them to Decentraland. Creators can already create things in Decentraland. That's fantastic. But there's no stickiness. It's hard to create a game. You have to be well-versed in programming. You have to hook up with a 3D modeler or something like that. And so it's very difficult. So our version 2, a major upgrade to the tool set we already have, is to allow people like in Minecraft or in Nifty Island to grab a game object. And if everybody could just think of Big Buck Hunter or Duck Hunt, the arcade shooting game where the animals go from the left to the right or from the right to the left on your screen, you have to shoot them. We want to make it as easy as when you're inside Decentraland, there's no programming. You drag a little box that says, I want a deer to spawn right here. And I want a rabbit to spawn right here. And I want to put all these trees in this area as the environment. And then you click save, or maybe you say this level has 30 seconds. And so then you can market your creations to others to come into Decentraland and play your game. So again, it's that euphoria as a creator to share your creations with others, but then get other people to come back and play. And it's a cycle of, again, repetition addiction that really needs to exist in Decentraland. And so we want to elevate creators with these tools by breaking down the barriers to create repetitive and addictive content, whether it's a zombie shooter, a laser tag, a PFP, a PvP, a duck hunt, a big buck hunt, a temple run, a maze, anything you can think of. There's pretty much there's very simple game loops in gaming, right? There's like shooter, there's timers, and there's waves. If you think about all of the games you play, they have some sort of that. It's pretty much it. That's pretty much what they are: a wave, a timer, or a shooter. And so we're going to create these modules that you can drag and drop easily to create waves or shooters or mazes or races and things like that.
Wow, that's really cool. I was thinking of some games, just knowing that I could do this without having to know how to be a game developer and how to like code this all from scratch. This got me really excited. And I actually, like, if I didn't have another meeting to jump onto after this one, I would have loved to attend your event that's coming up in a few minutes. Is it going to be recorded? Could I like watch it later?
Oh yeah, it'll be recorded on our Twitter, on the Last Slice Twitter account. We'll be streaming live. This is going to be a longer session, so it starts in about 3 minutes. We'll probably go for 3 hours. And we've been building this live for a few months, so we're just going to be live for people to come hang out, learn, see what we're doing. We'll help you and kind of hang out. And the cool thing as well, just quickly as I wrap it up, is you can build cooperatively. So in Decentraland, when you programming as a programmer, it's very isolated, right? Like you type in the computer and then it expects an output. But you and somebody else can't really program the same code base because it would overlap. Like think of a Word document. You can't really have two people writing an essay because it kind of just gets messed up, right? Mm-hmm. Well, with the in-world builder, you and anybody else you allow can be building simultaneously. And that's what we showcase on our live stream. So not only could you build a zombie shooter, you could build it with your friends and design levels with your friends. So that's a huge part of what we're trying to do. Again, is that repetition, addiction, stickiness. So we're not so solo mode in building and creating things in Decentraland.
Hefe, I know it looks like you want to say something. You go, feel free to unmute.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had a first look at this, the in-world builder proposal that's right now going through Decentraland DAO, and that just got me excited. Like just seeing the ability to build something like this, like you said last stream, it really just unlocks other levels of creativity, both for the creator and the people playing the games. Like, how am I going to beat this game? It kind of reminds me of a game I used to play. Like Halo had like a feature called the Forge, where you could build like your own. They give you the basic elements, crates and different things you can put together. But then seeing like the amazing things people were able to build, it kind of went beyond, I think, what even the designers conceptualized. They're like, oh, well, like you said, they're going to build these different types of games, and then seeing how people took that almost like artists and created even more like elevated experiences. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what comes out of this. And that in it alone is a huge value add for Decentraland, and just, creating more activity, not just participating in concerts and bringing IRL things in, but now actually creating like highly, like you say, addictive and engaging experiences. I'm pretty excited for it. And yeah, looking forward to this proposal pass through the DAO as well, because these are the sorts of things that I think open source protocols need to be funding. For the long term too. This can be really good for Decentraland.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I do have to wrap up, but this is all open source, and one good thing about that is people can learn from our programming. I've been inside Decentraland since 2019, and so people can learn what we're doing and maybe help improve whatever they're doing. And so they can see how we do things, and then they can go otherwise. So not only is the product going to improve the platform, it's the inner workings of the product will hopefully improve and inspire others to take that code as open source and hopefully improve theirs, as well as we are working, if this does pass, with another proposal. So again, not being so isolated. Everybody in Decentraland, they have this community camaraderie when they attend things, but the creation is pretty isolated. So what we want to do is we have actually partnered or in talks with another grantee. So somebody else that in the Decentraland DAO received funding for a grant. We want to partner with them and provide even more flexibility by combining our grants in some form so that we can provide more value to the community.
Wow, now that in-game builder is really cool. I'm thinking about something that I would like to create with my friends. Like Hefe, we could actually create that experience for that, like Tony Hawk Pro Skater type of feel. And then aside from that, I'm thinking of some of my other favorite games growing up was are you familiar with NBA Streets and then how from EA games came out like the early 2000s? I used to play that game all the time. It would be cool like to create like a similar experience like that in Decentraland. I could like picture it with like the type of graphics and everything, and like creating like the same type of moves that you could do, like slip and slide off the easy alley oops and stuff like that. And it would be kind of cool. I know you have to hop lash them, but thank you so much for sharing that information. We was talking about your builder before you even joined the Twitter space, so glad that we actually got to learn about it. And and this will be going on YouTube, and we'll create some shorts around it and inform more people of like how to experience it themselves. And I'm glad that the video is going to be recorded. I'm going to definitely check it out and hopefully have some time to connect with you later.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate it. We're live right now, and so you can find us I don't know how to post things. I'm terrible with Twitter Spaces, how to connect things. So if Sinful or Maryana could show me how to do that. We're live right now, so I appreciate the time. We're just going to be sitting there in world building, hanging out, and showing off the tool set. And HP, I see you're listening. So we updated the scale. So we added the scale, so you could scale all out, in all axes at once. So just want to let you know, we are here listening to the community. We are listening to people when they say, hey, maybe this is better. Maybe this icon should be something different. We're here building every day. And so these live sessions help make the tool set better so that we can create better content, have fun doing that. So again, we're not just building this for us to make money. We're building this because we actually care about the platform. I care about the platform. I've been in the platform since 2019. I want it to be better than Nifty. It can be We just need to focus. And so that's what we're doing. So we're here to help and learn and hopefully improve the tool set. So would definitely advise anybody to come into the DAO Discord and check it out. Thank you so much.
No problem at all. Will do. Let's definitely continue the conversation. And if you have any like feedback or suggestion, we'll give you some. But yeah, I'm glad we got to cover that on this episode because, man, that's a very powerful tool that they're building there. Like being able to build the experiences that you want in the game or well in the platform right alongside your friends, so you don't have to code in like an isolated environment where you're in your like PowerShell terminal just coding all day by yourself. Like you're actually doing it with your friends, and it's visually stimulating at the same time, where it could be a bit boring just on in your terminal all day. So that's really cool. Okay, and then to wrap it up, because we are at the top of the hour and want to be respectful of everyone's time, I guess I'll just ask a general question for you guys. Is what are some features within Decentraland or Aavegotchi that you would personally like to see? And then there was a question I had for you, Hefe, that I wanted to know a bit more about, was like collaboration between metaverses. Like, once again, like some of my favorite games growing up were like these rare instances where you've seen collaborations like Marvel versus Capcom, for an example, or Jump Force or Super Smash Brothers, where you had like characters from different games able to like, in these games like fight each other. Well, like, what if in like a game like Alluvium where you like catch alluvials, but like, what if I wanted to catch an Aavegotchi? And then like, cause like the way how you catch an alluvial in the game, you like aim your gun, you shoot at it, and then like it shoots out this like orb thing that like captures the alluvial. But what if like in a rare, like in an instance where maybe like every now and then there could be an Aavegotchi that you can capture as well, just to build upon that like cross-platform collaboration type of thing. But that's just something that I would like to see, like different metaverses combining into each other. But overall, what is something that you would like to see from Decentraland or Aavegotchi that doesn't exist yet?
I would love to see Aavegotchis in Decentraland. Like, we are not opposed to collaborating with metaverses. To me, the metaverse is going to be just like a whole web or network of all these different places you can go, different worlds, the Decentraland world, the Sandbox world, we have Nifty Islands, the Gotchiverse, which we are going to be developing a 3D version of the Gotchiverse where Aavegotchis hang out, the home of the Aavegotchis, and then having like seamless ways for us to all interact with each other. Like I played a part last year when I was a project manager for Aavegotchi DAO to help get funding for a sandbox experience, which was built by our own Aavegotchi guild, one of our guilds within Aavegotchi, partnered up with Sandbox, and luckily they're out in France where Sebastian, the founder of Sandbox, is. So they worked very closely with the team to kind of recreate the Gotchiverse in Sandbox for people who are already in Sandbox to get exposure to that and get a vibe for what we're all about here at Aavegotchi. So I'd love to see, and we also have the Aavegotchis in Nifty Island as well. So we have people experimenting over there. And so I would love to see Aavegotchis make it in Decentraland, especially with this in-world builder, because we have so many creative people in our community that would be all over things like this. Not only from like the more technical side, we're talking about open source development, but also, just creative non-coder people that would love to build something maybe artistic or create a cool gathering place for the Aavegotchis, or even create a fun game, or as Aavegotchis, our arch nemesis are the liquidators. And so they could maybe even make a appearance in one of these games. It'd be pretty cool to see something like that. As far as like what sort of games and experiences I'd love to see with Aavegotchis, I grew up as a RuneScape player, so I'd love to see some sort of like wilderness survival game with the Aavegotchis where you're out there, you're trying to gather resources as quick as you can, and maybe there's some tension, some risk of losing some items or something if you're, not careful enough. But having sort of that tension in the game, I think, is important to have like a risk reward kind of thing going on where it adds some excitement to the experience.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then as you were saying that, I was thinking of As you were mentioning, like a potential presence of Aavegotchi and Decentraland, I was thinking of like maybe an experience around Halloween time, since Aavegotchis are ghosts, and maybe have like some type of area where you can have like, I don't know, like a haunted house type of experience in Decentraland, and there's like Aavegotchis and stuff like implemented in that haunted house, perhaps. But yeah,
Oh man, you just might have given someone an idea with that Aavegotchi haunted house. Where we could build that out in Decentraland or something. We have a haunted house ready to go. We have some time too to make something like that because that's still ways away in October. So you might have given someone an idea. We have some Gotchi gang listening in the chat here. Shout out to Goobs, Foreign. I see 60 in here as well. I see some other transistors in here hanging out. So yeah, glad to see you guys in here hanging out with us.
Yeah, shout out to the Gotchi gang, one of the friendliest communities in the space. One of the first communities I ever interacted with. I always tell people that, like before I got involved in Bankless DAO, it was the first DAO I ever contributed to, but the first Web3 community I ever interacted with ever was the Gotchi gang. It started with No Futuristic, and then my connections at Gotchi gang, it just built from there. And I noticed when I tweeted about Aavegotchi, I got nothing but love from the Gotchi gang. So shout outs to you guys. And once again, much love to the Decentraland community as well. Received a lot of love from them, a lot of free gifts, and just big shout outs to that community as well. Extremely friendly and a lot of innovative people over there as well. Thank you, Sinful, for introducing me to Mr. W and Mr. J. Gonna create some cool wearables with them. So expect to see some OSPN wearables in the near future. So thanks for making that connection happen. And then before we wrap up here, we'd like to know some experiences you would like to see within Decentraland that doesn't currently exist just yet.
I mean, Hefe just basically gave an idea out. Yeah, I would love to see Aavegotchi on Decentraland, and to kind of like even get the ball rolling. Everything. There's so much in Web3 that like you can't just focus your full attention on just one thing. But if you wanted to like just get something started, I would consider either buying a name and building out like a Aavegotchi like headquarters, and then as the technology develops, because like right now it's like we want pets. I feel like Aavegotchis would be the perfect pets. We want pets, but right now in the current state of development, they're not focusing on that because there's just so much other things that they want to fix before being able to implement pets. So when that day comes, you'll be ready. Um, and I guess I mean for me it's like simple. Like what do I want to see on Decentraland? I want to see some cars. I want to be able to buy a car or a plane or something. I want to see paintball, or a build where you could just like go over to that build and like just start shooting up the place with paintballs and like walk out just like messy.
That'd be a cool artist event, actually. Someone creates a blank canvas in Decentraland, and then y'all get paintball guns. Maybe everybody gets like a different color or something, and then you're like shooting this this blank canvas, and y'all create like an artwork together or something.
Wow! And then you could sell it as an NFT afterwards.
Dang, yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, that might even be an idea that is possible now, like with portable experience. But I mean, we'll see because I know that the Decentraland is working on their new client, which according to them, they're saying that it's gonna it's going to be an improvement from the current code base that they have running right now, because it seems like the development is just so slow because of the limitations of what they can do by the like how the client's currently set up. But once they open all that up and then build upon it, feel like the platform could be something great. Thank you, Jaris, for having me on the show today. Really appreciate you. And Hefe, I would like to connect with you, bro, and potentially like even like I know that you said that you're a host. You host a podcast talk show. I'm also a podcast talk show host as well, and would love to kind of like feature you and get some eyes on your podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to do that. I'm always open like to meet other people, in parallel metaverses or worlds building and find ways we can work together. Like I'd love to see Aavegotchi get involved in Decentraland, whether that means we purchase some land and start building, like you say, Aavegotchi Lodge or HQ over there for us to mess around with. I'd love to talk about that more and, ideate on some things as well.
And it doesn't even have to be like, making the full investment into like straight up land. You could buy a name, which right now I think the mana price is like 65, 70. So cents. So it would be like 100 mana plus a little bit of gas. So you're probably looking at like around $100 investment, and then you'll get your official Aavegotchi name on Decentraland. If you've ever been on Decentraland, if you don't own your name, you have like digits right behind the word. You own that. It is a subdomain. Like you could set it up to either be like a subdomain for your land. It gives you 100 voting power in the Decentraland DAO, and the biggest part of it, you can build on it. You have I believe it's a 100 megabyte or 100 megabyte limit. Which is like plenty for building on Decentraland, especially if like it's like your own world.
That's a huge value add. See, I wasn't even aware of that. And so that's a really easy entry point for anyone listening who, I see some Gotchi gang in here who are like experimenting with stuff like this. You don't actually have to make the investment into the land up front. There's like lower barrier to entry ways of getting in there. So we definitely got to secure that Aavegotchi name and then, get building, start creating stuff.
Or if anything, bro, like me, like I'm my name's Sinful, I'm a co-founder of the community building Decentraland Discord and X Space. So I mean I have plenty of friends around the space that have land and would love to have someone build on it. So I mean, yeah, if you ever wanted to borrow some land, I could help facilitate that as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you for that. That's awesome.
Hell yeah. All right. So I got to form a group chat here shortly after we wrap up. And let's get the ball.
Yeah.
I want to see this stuff actually coming to fruition. Once again, thank you.
Making friends.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, appreciate you guys. I appreciate everyone here in the audience as well. Big shout outs to you guys. Big shout outs to you, Thompson, our video editor, 60, Mellison. So we have Brittany as well, Alpha, Foreign, Akahor, Trans. I might not see the whole name here. Let me see. I'll just click on your profile. Yeah, Transistor. Shout outs to you from the Gotchi gang. And we got the community builder, Decentraland accountant here as well. OC Stanley. Shout outs to all of you for joining us for another episode of Beyond PFPs. Appreciate you all. This video will be up in about a week or so on YouTube. And you'll be able to catch it all. And short form videos coming soon. Once again, thank you all for joining us. You guys were amazing guests. Big shout outs to Lastrum and to Maryana as well. And thank you, Sinful and Hefe. Going to form that group chat in like a few minutes. And then we'll continue the conversation.
Right. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you for anyone on Decentraland that popped in. I see a few of you.
Yeah, shout outs to you guys. Appreciate you all. And you guys are building some really cool stuff, both of you. Once again, big shout outs to Lastrum again for that in-game builder, that in-platform, that in-world builder, I guess is the right way to categorize it or the right way to explain it. But I can't wait to actually play around with it for real, like create some experiences in Decentraland. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Until next time, hope you guys all have a great day.